Venezuela is now facing its greatest risk in years. More than 7,000 elite U.S. paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division have suddenly appeared in the Caribbean, just a few hours' flight from Caracas. This is not a routine exercise, but a powerful strategic message from Washington. The question is, will this move deter Venezuela or push the region into a new crisis? Welcome back to the Military Analysis channel. In today's video, we'll break down one of the most shocking events, the U.S. deployment of the 82nd Airborne Division to the Caribbean, right on Venezuela's doorstep. We'll analyze the significance of this move, the true capabilities of America's airborne forces, and the possible scenarios that could unfold. More than 7,000 paratroopers from the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, also known as the Panther Brigade, have been deployed to the Caribbean. This marks one of the largest U.S. military deployments in the Western Hemisphere in recent years. According to the Pentagon, this force can respond globally within just 18 hours. By positioning them in the Caribbean, the U.S. has placed one of its most elite and combat-ready units within striking distance of Venezuela's northern coast. The 82nd Airborne Division is no ordinary force. It is the spearhead of the U.S. Army, famous for its ability to parachute into combat zones and seize objectives in extremely short time frames. Established during World War II, the 82nd fought in Normandy, the Battle of the Bulge, and in nearly every major U.S. campaign since, from Iraq and Afghanistan to Syria. Their hallmark is speed, flexibility, and the ability to gain tactical advantages before heavier mechanized forces arrive to reinforce. The 3rd Brigade Combat Team has a particularly storied reputation. With multiple combat tours in the Middle East, it is well-versed in counterinsurgency, urban warfare, and high-intensity conflict. The unit's sudden deployment to the Caribbean demonstrates that Washington is not treating the Venezuela situation as a distant or secondary concern, but as a potentially volatile crisis, demanding its finest airborne troop. If tensions escalate, the presence of the 82nd Airborne Division provides U.S. Southern Command with a wide range of options. Analysts believe this deployment serves two key purposes. First, to deter Venezuela and prevent it from taking steps that could threaten U.S. interests or its allies in the region. Second, to ensure Washington has a military tool ready to respond rapidly to any crisis, whether humanitarian or military. The Panther Brigade carries a mixed force: light infantry, supporting artillery, reconnaissance, and air assault capabilities. This makes them an extremely flexible and powerful unit. But why did the U.S. choose this moment? Because Venezuela has been ramping up military exercises near the Caribbean, while also deepening ties with Russia, China, and Iran. By deploying the 82nd Airborne right on Caracas's doorstep, Washington is sending a warning. It will not allow non-Western powers to expand their influence in its own backyard. This move immediately sparked mixed reactions. Regional partners such as Colombia, Brazil, and several Caribbean nations welcomed it, seeing it as a stabilizing factor. In contrast, Venezuela accused the U.S. of provocation and preparing for invasion. Caracas quickly strengthened its coastal defenses, reinforced air bases, and sought greater support from Russia, China, and Iran. If these powers become more deeply involved, the risk of an international confrontation in the Caribbean becomes very real. What could happen next? There are three main scenarios. First, successful deterrence. Venezuela de-escalates and tensions temporarily cool down. Second, military escalation. The U.S. and Venezuela confront each other, with indirect involvement from Russia and China. Third, humanitarian crisis. U.S. paratroopers deploy to provide aid, stabilize the region, and manage refugee flows. Whatever the outcome, the deployment of the 82nd Airborne Division to the Caribbean already sends a crystal-clear message. Washington takes this situation extremely seriously. What happens next will largely depend on political decisions made in Washington and Caracas. While the Pentagon emphasizes that the paratroopers are deployed for readiness and deterrence, History shows that the presence of elite combat forces in unstable regions often increases the risk of direct confrontation. At present, the world is watching closely. With more than 7,000 paratroopers now positioned in the Caribbean, the United States has placed its card on the table. Venezuela, backed by outside powers, may feel compelled to respond. The coming weeks could determine whether this standoff remains a test of resolve or escalates into something far more dangerous. In conclusion, the presence of more than 7,000 paratroopers in the Caribbean is not just a drill. It is a strategic message that the United States is ready to respond rapidly to any threat in the Western Hemisphere. Will this be enough to deter Venezuela, or will it only escalate tensions further? Share your opinion in the comments, and if you enjoy in-depth military analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel.